Welcome to episode 483 of Salcedo Paranormal, and tonight we'll be talking more about haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me in the podcast page, and that is salcedoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for listening, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord or if you listen on the podcast or YouTube feeds or on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of the show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Troubled Minds Radio comes on. As always, I want to thank Michael Strange, host of Troubled Minds Radio, as well as Liam Martin, host of the Exile Minds podcast, for producing the shows and putting them up on the station. If you'd like to support the show, there are some different ways to do that. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your podcast platform of choice. I've written some paranormal fiction and nonfiction books you can check out over on Amazon. Also, I have a Patreon page where I'll be putting up episodes exclusively over on that site whenever I can. I already have 1 episode up there now, and those will always be available to all membership tier levels. And also, if you'd like to just make a one-time donation, you can do that through PayPal and Venmo. And all those links can be found in every episode description and on the podcast page and on Discord. Help is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses. Coming up in just a little over a month, I'll be going to the Mid-Michigan Paracon. That's November 4th and 5th, a Saturday and Sunday, in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. And there I will be making recordings of myself and anyone else who wants to join me, just audio recordings, talking about the paranormal, whether it's just thoughts and theories to experiences, anything within that wide range of a topic there. And I'll be sharing those recordings with others once I get back home. So, with the show, I'm sorry, with others. Obviously with others on the show once I get back home, after a few days of rest and regrouping and everything. So, that's the plan for that. So, it is looking like my special guest for tonight was unable to make it here. I'm hoping everything is okay. So, because of that, I am, like I said in the beginning of the show here, I'm just going to continue on with my series on haunted places in the U.S., and we will reschedule the guest appearance with a good friend of the show, Rohan. Hopefully everything is okay with him for another time, and looking forward to doing that whenever works for him. So, and I think that covers everything, so I can get to the articles here. As always with this series, a couple of things to say for right away. Please, whenever I talk about any location, do your own research as to when you can visit it, if you can at all, and what the rules are, and what parts are open to the public and what parts aren't. Please just basically any place that you're interested in, make sure you look into the current status of that place, because again, I find these articles, but they are not always. In a lot of cases, I would guess they're not updated constantly. They're just an article put out at a certain time, and then the status of a location may change over time. So, and I say that because trespassing can lead to a lot of problems, whether it's legal or health issues, or other sort of paranormal events that may not be so positive, just because you never know. just as a matter of respect, it's good to not be trespassing on anyone's property. So, and these are just articles I've found online. So, of course, as I always say, I am not a historian in any way. So, just these are all overviews of these locations and mainly the activity there. And so I could be wrong about anything I say here tonight. So I think that covers all of that. And let me get on to these articles here. So let's check on everything again. Everything looks okay. Okay. So moving to the first location here I want to talk about. And this is the, let me see here. This is the Tutwiler Hotel. And this is in Alabama. Still, we're working through, excuse me, working through locations in Alabama right now. Going through the states alphabetically. So, and this article is from, I see here, hauntedrooms.com. Title of the article reads, "The Haunted Tutwiler Hotel in Birmingham, Alabama," and that's basically just the title. And it says, Tutwiler Hotel Ghosts. It says that guests as well as staff have many ghost stories to talk about. Apparently, a bartender who worked there at the hotel had several experiences in 1995. Basically, whenever they would leave the bar, they would shut down and everything, and they would turn off all the lights as they're supposed to. And then, but every day when the boss got there, or the other employees got there the next day, the lights would all be on. And so eventually, this employee got in trouble with the boss because the boss thought that they were leaving all the lights on when they were leaving. So, let me see here. The boss, it was basically this guy's job to turn off the lights in the bar and the kitchen during closing. So, he started turning the lights off, but they would always apparently turn on by themselves. After turning the lights off 4 times, he left for the evening. So, it is sort of a mix of he didn't leave them on intentionally, but they kept turning on. And so then the next day, of course, after all this, the bartender tried to explain, but the manager, this boss, would not believe him right away. So this happened 5 nights in a row. And after that, the manager called the bartender and told him to come to work immediately. And when he got there, and this was he wasn't already at work. Apparently, there was a complete multi-course meal with candles and a bottle of wine left out. So, of course, this manager is thinking originally that this bartender was playing a trick when probably he would not do that. I'm guessing that's when the people there, the manager and other people started to believe him there at that point. Says that many people believed it was the spirit of Colonel Tutwiler, for which the hotel was named. And it says that in order to stop this from happening again, this same bartender would call out to the colonel each night and say, "Have a good evening," and not to make a mess. And then once this bartender started doing that, the activity stopped. The lights would stay off, and then, of course, no more full meals left out in the open. So that really is amazing, and I found that in a couple of these articles. They mentioned they both mentioned that. So really is amazing that this is something that is just the idea of that. I mean, I feel bad for the bartender, but I'm glad that everything worked out in the end. So going back to this first article here, let me see what more there is to talk about here. Other reports talk about knocking on doors in the middle of the night. Several guests have reported loud, rapid knocks on the doors to the room, and then when they would jump out of bed and open the door, there wouldn't be anyone there. And it's believed to be the spirit that does all this is believed to be a male spirit because he wakes women up with his knocking during the night. I don't know how that makes sense, but okay. So it mentions, let me see here. So this article then goes into the history. This hotel was opened by Robert Jemison with a major investment from Major Tutwiler in 1914. So the hotel was built to convince the American Iron and Steel Institute to have its convention in Birmingham, Alabama. And back then, Tutwiler was one of the best hotels in the area. So moving ahead in time here a little bit, 1974, the hotel was basically imploded to make room for the First Alabama Bank. And then for the next 12 years, the hotel was not there. But then in 1985, the city was awarded, let's see here, the Urban Development Act grant, and with some financing, it gave them the chance to open the hotel again. So I'm guessing they rebuilt it. So yeah, apparently it has a lot of the original material, I'm guessing, based on what they're talking about here in this article. That really is amazing, because if there is any original material, then who knows what that could mean as far as paranormal activity goes. So neat article there. I wonder what that does to a place when it's basically destroyed and then completely rebuilt, and then that's still decades ago. So had to be remodeled again in recent years. But so it sounds like that's a lot of activity in a place, especially that full course meal, that full multi-course meal. That is really amazing to think about how that would be done in the physical world by something that is not supposed to be physical. So moving on to the next article here. Let me check on Discord again and make sure everything's all right. Okay, so moving on to the next article here. This one is from frightfind.com, and the title reads the haunted Tutwiler Hotel. I have a hard time with that name, apparently. So the article starts off talking about the knocking on the doors, and then when the guests open the door, there's no one there. So also the 6th floor. Now this one mentions something different. The 6th floor has more reports of this knocking, and the hotel bar. So it goes into the whole story about the hotel's bartender, and that really is amazing. Again, just going into the whole the creation, or the I'm guessing gathering of supplies and arranging everything in the kitchen of the whole meal. So let me see here. This is a shorter one, but it does end by saying it's as if a ghostly guest did not want to leave. So, but yeah, so that's a shorter article, but it does have sort of that same couple of stories in there, and so that's really neat. Again, just the whole idea of that dinner being left. That's a lot of physical material being manipulated. So, getting to this next article here, last one that we have for this location. This is from onlyinyourstate.com. Title reads, "Stay overnight in the 109-year-old Tutwiler Hotel in Alabama that's said to be haunted. So, let's see here. This is, of course, this and some other articles. I do look at these places through a idea of describing them so people can go and visit them, which is amazing as well. But this is so this article starts talking about how there's no shortage of paranormal activity, of locations with a lot of paranormal activity. And even though there are several haunted places throughout the state, including some of the finest hotels in the area, this article is talking about the Tutwiler. And this, of course, is apparently it's part of a larger group now. It's the Hampton Inn and Suites, Birmingham, downtown, and then it has Tutwiler at the end of the name. So, and I think this one has pictures. Yeah, this one has pictures, which are really neat. So I definitely recommend checking that out. And so really this one is more about the pictures here. And has a lot of them. I'm just scrolling down here to get through all of them, though, to get to anything else. And so let's see here. Now in this article here, yeah, I'm sorry. Looks like the rest of that, the article is basically just the pictures. And yeah, so I mean, there's a little text in between, but so yeah, it looks like that is basically it for that article. I thought there was text in there about the actual hauntings. So I'm not seeing it now, but I think we've already gone over that pretty well. So a lot of times these articles have some of the same material. So let's see here. I don't know if we have time. Let's see here to do this other one. Let me check on these articles here. And yeah, so well, we can start on this next location and go from there. And so this is next location is the Sweetwater Plantation. I've also seen it just labeled as the Sweetwater Mansion. Title of this article reads, "The Haunted Sweetwater Plantation in Florence, Alabama." So this is let's see here. Apparently, there's reports of music playing that is on a piano that is being played, even though no one appears to be there. And that's how the article starts off here. So, looking at the rest of this here, it mentions that there is a haunted history of the location. It's been rumored. It says that the this Sweetwater Mansion has a lot of activity in it. Gives information on the exact location. The caretaker, according to this article, mentions a light being turned on at night on the second floor and faucets being turned on at night when she is trying to sleep. So there's there's different activities going on there. So going on to the rest of the location here. And so that's all that this one has for reports from that location. So I guess we have time after all. Let's check on the next article here. Some of these are a lot more pictures than a lot of text, and then just geographical information. So moving on to the next article from hauntedrooms.com. Says the article title is Sweetwater Mansion Ghosts. I'm sorry. That's not what it is. It says the Haunted Sweetwater Mansion. So it says there are many stories about various paranormal activities that are said to take place there. Starts off talking about the caretaker again, who apparently had seen a casket with the body of a Confederate soldier in one of the rooms downstairs. She thought that she saw the body of one of the sons of General Patton, whose funeral was held in the house. I'm wondering if they mean Did you see an apparition of that? That'd be really wild. There's a room in the house that says that tends to lock. The door tends to lock on its own. So that's always an odd thing. I've had experience with that. So going to other things here in this article, says the house also has a mysterious area that's called the secret room. It has no door. It can only be accessed through a small interior window. That's odd. Let me see here. Some paranormal investigators have captured a lot of odd pictures there in the mansion. One picture appears to be of a distinct shape of a Civil War soldier outside on the property one evening. So it says during the taping of an episode of a TV show, investigators saw a door move on its own, and they also heard footsteps. So also a large piece of the ceiling tile apparently separated from the ceiling and flew across the room. So that's odd for it to be flying across the room there. This mansion here, it was designed by General John Brahan. I'm not sure about that last name. Brahan. Who was a veteran of the War of 1812, and he owned more than 4,000 acres of land in the state. The mansion got its name from the creek that it was close to, and was first occupied by the general's son-in-law, Robert Patton. So, mentions the mansion's basement once served as a Civil War hospital and also a county jail for a while. There are rumors of someone who once lived in one of the rooms upstairs who practiced dark magic. So hopefully that's just a rumor. But so let me see here. That's basically it for that article. And I think I can go on to this last one here. Looks like this is a lot of pictures again, and I will I'll include that in the episode links. So, and then you can, or the episode description, and you can check out the pictures and articles here. And I think that's gonna do it for that location. And then I think that'll do it for all the locations I talk about on this show today. So just fill in this last couple minutes here, like I always like to do, just by saying, please be sure to check out all the links in the episode description. There's always a few in there for some good friends of the show that have their own projects, and including, like I always say, Michael Strange of Troubled Minds Radio, as well as Rohan, Leah Martin of the Exile Minds podcast, and also a good friend of the show, Jen Arcana, who also has a show. All three of them, of course, are all on the network, the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And definitely recommend checking out the station whenever you can, just to listen and see what you'll find. Those other three shows and my own are not the only 4 shows on the network. There's a couple others as well. And you never know during the day which ones you're going to hear and which episodes you're going to hear. So it really does make for interesting listening. And so yeah, and then just please, whenever there's an episode with another guest on the show, again, I've had some other guests over the years, please check out the links to their projects as well. Really appreciate that. So many people have helped out with this show. I always want to thank every one of them. But of course, I don't like to go with names too often because I don't want to forget anyone. But all of you who have helped with the show, either as guests or sending articles, any of those things, I really appreciate it. And coming up to episode 500 here in a few weeks. So looking forward to that. Have some special plans for that as well. And I think that's going to do it. Thank you all for listening. And I'll be back on Saturday for the next live stream and covering more haunted places in the U.S. So that'll be fun. I'll be doing that. Basically, the plan is every Saturday and Thursday and all the way through until Halloween. So thank you all again, and I will talk to you all on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. And take care.